To all my religious relatives who watch this show, you might want to skip this one. For my first venture into Nunsploitation, I was originally going to do Convent of Sinners. However, after watching it again, I realized it would take me at least a week just to edit out all the nudity. So I decided to go with The Other Hell instead. The Other Hell is a 1981 Nunsploitation film from famous exploitation director Bruno Mattei. The movie opens rather abruptly in a cemetery. A nun is lost in the corridors looking for Sister Assunta. She eventually finds her in her mad scientist lab. Assunta is doing an embalming on a recently deceased nun. You know, she seems to be breathing a lot for a corpse. She claims the nun was evil, so she cuts out her vagina. That's right, folks. 5 minutes into the movie and we already have a nun removing a corpse's vagina.
The genitals are the door to evil. The vagina, the uterus, the womb, the labyrinth that leads to hell.
So if the vagina is the doorway to hell, what's the butt? The dead nun evidently had an affair with Satan and he got her pregnant. Sister Assunta tried to abort the baby, but in the process killed her. The devil shows up and makes Assunta kill the other nun. Well, it's supposed to be the devil, but it really looks like somebody just got some red saran wrap and covered a couple of flashlights. The music in the film is sweet, but it feels completely out of place. Like it should have been paired with a 70s or 80s cop show. One of the nuns tells the Mother Superior that Sister Assunta killed Sister Christian and then killed herself. The Mother Superior writes this off as an accident. The church sends Padre Anardo to investigate and find out why all these nuns are dying. The nuns pray before dinner. This nun is totally a guy. At this point, we're introduced to my favorite character in the film, Nuncat. She shows up from time to time whenever the film needs a transition. The Padre is reading and he hears some weird noises from upstairs. Then his book catches on fire. For some reason, then we're shown a girl and Nuncat sleeping in a room full of mannequins. Is this a convent or condemned? The Padre is giving out communion and Sister Rosaria starts freaking out and bleeding from the mouth. She runs out of the church and asks Boris the groundkeeper for help. Boris doesn't give a fuck. The nuns drag her back inside and try to exorcise the demon. The girl from earlier watches over this with Nuncat. Her face is always covered. The nuns lock Sister Rosaria in her room, and then she begins to show signs of the stigmata. The Padre and the other nuns are blessing the convent when they hear a scream. They investigate and find Sister Rosaria has bled to death from the stigmata. The Padre realizes this is more than he can handle, so he calls in Father Valeria, ecclesiastical detective. Father Valeria gets to the convent just as the nuns are getting ready for a bonfire and a possible kegger. The Mother Superior had the nuns burn everything in Sister Rosaria's room to get rid of all the evil.
The evil is getting burned. The force disappears with it.
Fingerprints tend to disappear in the ashes, too.
Father Valeria is investigating the convent, and he finds all this weird stuff. Like this crazy nun, hanging mannequins, and this. The Padre is also searching the convent and is attacked by the faceless nun. He sees the devil and is set on fire. The next day at Mass, Father Valeria finds the Padre's head on the altar. Father Valeria snaps and starts to tear the convent apart, searching for the killer. One of the nuns goes crazy and tries to kill him. Nuncat gets loose and Boris sicks his dogs on him. You asshole. This pisses off the masked nun. She somehow turns the dogs on Boris, and then a puppet kills him. Father Valeria is trying to watch some of the video he recorded, but instead he sees a scene from the past. The Mother Superior is there, only back then she was just Sister Vincenza. She's arguing with an older Mother Superior about a baby she's holding. The Mother Superior tells her that her baby is the fruit of evil and boils it alive. Turns out the devil impregnated her too. Does this guy ever use protection? Sister Vincenza rescues the baby, and now the baby has telekinetic powers. The baby then uses her newfound telekinetic powers to have the Mother Superior kill herself. This is so obviously a doll. With this new knowledge, Father Valeria goes to leave, but he's stopped by the Mother Superior, who stabs him right in the crotch. And now it's time for Wacky Faces with Valeria and Vincenza. So the masked nun shows up, and as it turns out, she's the Mother Superior's daughter. She finally takes the mask off, and for somebody who was submerged in boiling water as an infant, it's really not all that bad. It just looks like she got a little overzealous while eating chocolate pudding. She explains how her mother's been making her use her powers against the other nuns. The Mother Superior stabs her in the back, but this only pisses her off. She chases her down into the catacombs and raises the dead to kill her. A short time later, a new Mother Superior and a priest are investigating the catacombs and the embalming chamber. And just as abruptly as the movie started, it ends.
There's a logical explanation for everything.
The cemetery in the film is the famous Fontanelle Cemetery, located in Naples, Italy. In the 1800s, after an outbreak of cholera, the cemetery was filled with the bodies of over 30,000 victims. The cemetery has now been converted to a museum. The funky score was actually from another Italian film called By Omega, or Beyond the Darkness.
Tua madre è morta. Anche Anna è morta.
Mattei was friends with the musical editor of that film and asked if he could use it for his film. The band Goblin came out and adapted the score for The Other Hell. The movie was filmed in an abandoned convent in Rome. Fiat, the car company, owned it at the time and let them film there. The building is now owned by the Italian Secret Service. At the same time, in the same location, while filming The Other Hell, Mattei was filming The Nun of Monza. Franca Stoppi played Mother Superior in both films. While The Other Hell was more of a giallo film, The Nun of Monza was more of what people expected with Nunsploitation. And with that, I mean lots and lots of nudity, S&M, and John Lovitz as the devil.